Hey there, gaming outsiders! On episode 399, Scott, CB, and I share our and our listeners' thoughts about video game characters we relate to the most. In news, the sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order has been officially announced, and some new TV shows/movies based on video games are coming from Sony. Rel also stops by to talk about his time with Eiyuden Chronicle Rising. This is the Gaming Outsider.
Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 399 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Tuesday, May 31st. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my friends. First off, the goose to my maverick, Mr. CB. How you doing, man?
I don't want to die.
You'll always live in my heart, man. You'll always live in my heart.
I'm more like the Iceman to your Maverick.
That's
sir.
true. Actually, probably Zach is probably my Iceman. You're, I don't know, Jester? I don't know. Anyway.
I will go with Viper.
Also joining us, way better looking than Kelly McGillis herself,
Aww.
Miss Alyssa White. How you doing, Alyssa?
I'm okay, but thank you for that compliment, because she was gorgeous in that movie.
She was gorgeous. She's not anymore.
I have seen pictures of her recently. I won't say anything else.
It's a little... I never would have guessed that. But anyway, we're here to talk about video games. And CB, I think you've been gone... Actually, no, you both were here last week, weren't you?
No.
It was me and Grant last week with you.
That's right. So, CB, you've been gone the longest. What have you been catching up on?
Oh, man, it is a list, sir.
All right. I see 3 games on the list.
Yes, but as you can see, they are beefy boys.
Yeah.
They are.
I finished Far Cry 6.
Oh, yeah. How did that go?
Mwah, chef's kiss.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I feel
man.
so bad. I never went back to that game.
That ending is worth it.
Yeah, you told me the same thing about Assassin's Creed, and I'm real tempted just to go YouTube the endings of Assassin's Creed and Far Cry 6 now.
If you're gonna YouTube Far Cry 6, make sure you YouTube like all the cutscenes.
Oh yeah, that's totally what I would do, not just the ending. But.
Just because, man, that ending I did not expect.
Well, I mean, we said the same thing about 5, right? 5 had a great ending.
5 had a phenomenal ending. 6 has an ending that you're just like, what? Like, why?
That was the exact response I had with the ending of 5, but
in true Far Cry fashion, the ending is just like above and beyond what I expect.
Yeah. How did the gameplay last throughout?
Really solid. Like 5 had some really good moments. 6 has some phenomenal moments, but I still prefer 5 overall.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the weight of the game.
Right.
6 definitely it goes some dark places. And
are the pistols still overpowered when you get to the end of that game?
Dude, I used that pistol all the way to the end.
I was going to say, I thought you mentioned that you had your favorite weapon was the pistol.
Well, there's one specific pistol.
Yeah, one specific one.
Yeah,
which I have, and I was using it just mowing down entire camps when I wasn't able to go stealthy, and it was better than any shotgun or rifle or anything I could do.
I did find a rifle to pair with it finally.
Mm-hmm.
That is almost just as good, but having that quick like change between like charge in with the rifle and then switch to the pistol to clean up just felt great.
And it fits right in your play style of, just
run and gun and smash down doors.
Yeah.
And,
awesome.
Did you play the Danny Trejo mission? I'm just curious.
No, I haven't, so I'm going through and cleaning up some of the side stuff because I really want to play the Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
Side stories.
Mm-hmm.
What a weird combo, by the way.
I know.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I definitely want to go through and finish some of the side stories up.
Mm-hmm.
Just because even though I finished that game, man, I didn't even like chunk out a fourth of the achievements for that game.
Yeah, that's kind of a typical Far Cry thing.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you know me, I like to play those games where I do everything as I go instead of go back and clean up.
I think that's why you're so afraid to try Far Cry 6, because you're never going to get there.
Well, that and Assassin's Creed, like I can't remember the name of Valhalla. Like I
do the same thing, Scott.
Of that game.
I'm like doing the side stuff, but without even touching the main story, and then I get so overwhelmed. I'm like, no, I gotta stop.
Well, because I want to go into the main story just feeling like I can just enjoy it and not have to worry about being underleveled or
I'm just worried if I don't do the side mission at that time, I'll be locked out of it later.
Oh, that's a good point, too. But you'll notice you've not heard me once say this year, I'm going to add it to my pile for summer. I'm not committing to any of that crap this year. As much as I would love to say I'm going to sit down and play through Assassin's Creed, and I'm going to sit down and finish Far Cry, I'm not going to lay any claim this year.
I feel that you need to at least lay claim to one game.
All right, well, we'll discuss what that is. What else you been playing?
So I jumped in for a second helping of Elden Ring.
New Game Plus?
I went New Game Plus.
Did you finish or how? Or
I'm on the final boss.
Oh my god!
Wow.
So I assume it's a lot easier going through the second time.
Oh man, my character is OP.
Yeah.
No lies. Like when I 3-shot the first boss, I was just like, this is gonna be fun. And so now, like, you're going through this game in New Game Plus, just be like, yes, I really am the Elden, like, I am the Elden Lord. Bow before me, weak, pathetic bosses.
I posted a meme that I saw somebody put on Twitter that was like, here's gamers. I had a super stressful day. I need to relax. Fires up super difficult game. And like that's why I think I've avoided Elden Ring. I've enjoyed it, but I don't need the stress.
Oh, so I was actually worried because, like, for me, I remember the first boss being such a challenge. So then when I was just like, ooh, I breezed through this. And then I was like, okay, so my next big challenge was Radahn the Star Scourge, which is like infamously at the time, like one of the hardest bosses. Yeah, I smoked him on the first try, like without really even trying.
So you haven't really hit a wall where you just
Oh no, I hit a wall.
Where was that?
Maquella, the one.
I mean, it's not going to tell me anything, the name of the character.
So I'm sure you've seen on social media the like let me solo her.
No.
Okay.
I've seen some of that, yeah.
So there's a female boss that is rough. Like really rough. And I walked into that fight like, yeah, man, I'm gonna power through this. Nope. I got stomped. I got stomped hard.
Yeah.
And luckily she's an optional boss, so she's like, never mind, I'm just gonna go fight the Elden Lord. And I've taken a couple cracks at the Elden Lord. The fight is still really difficult. But I'm probably like 3 or 4 attempts of getting it done.
So, like, are you trying to clean up achievements, or are you just trying to see if you can do it? What's your...
I'm 3 achievements away from 100% the game.
Is one of them completing a New Game Plus?
So there's 4 different ending achievements, and there's a way to kind of cheese all 3 of them.
Yeah, I've done achievement hunting. I know how that works.
So I'm just trying to like clean those up, and I'm like, okay, I can put this to bed for a while.
All right. Anything else?
I talked with, so my older son is now on summer break, and
jealous.
He wants to help me clean up some achievements.
Okay.
So we're picking like one game a week that to go back to and just kind of 100% it, because sometimes there's that like those like, oh, well, you need 2 players to do this achievement.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we picked Disneyland Adventures for the first one.
Wait, is that the Kinect game?
Well, it started as a Kinect game. You can play without the Kinect now.
Oh, okay.
We've been trying to finish that one up because I'm at like 93% complete.
Gotcha.
The problem is the game is starting to bug a little.
Oh no!
And there's not going to be a patch. You know that?
No, there's definitely not going to be a patch. So we got to like 96% and the game locked up, and it pushed us all the way back to 93%.
Oh
wait, I didn't know that. Oh, you mean on one of the things that you're doing, it's 97% to get that achievement?
No,
not
no,
90, not 96% of the achievements.
No, we're at 93% of like perfect gameplay. So
I see.
Everything, because one of them is like complete everything.
Ugh.
And so we spent like 3 hours and we got three of the final 7% done,
mm-hmm.
and it reverted us back.
That sucks. I would be stopping that.
Yeah, we were a little pissed, but luckily, like, one of them is like, remember where the hidden Mickeys are in this level, and so we just know where they are now, so we have to run back through and just, it's a little easier.
Yeah, now that you've done it.
It was a little annoying. We're like,
what a weird random game to pull that you're going to be playing this week. Disneyland Adventures on Xbox 360.
Well, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to be picking one a week, and just, because he's got, 12 weeks? So I'm like, that's 12 100%, so I can get out of the way.
A little father-son bonding time.
Quality time.
I dig
Hey, man, it works.
As for me, I assume CB is going to talk about it at the bottom of the show, but with Top Gun Maverick releasing in theaters this past weekend, I did not realize that there was DLC for Ace Combat 7 that was Top Gun themed. So I got really excited. So I downloaded Ace Combat 7, played through a mission at the beginning just to kind of get back into it again because I love Ace Combat games. And then went to the DLC to check it out, and the DLC is $20.
Ouch.
For the Top Gun Maverick DLC, and it does not include any new missions. It is just
planes.
Top Gun skins. Like, you get the Tomcat, sucks. You get the what do they refer to them in the movie? Like the something 5, the enemy planes, because they don't want to like tie them to any country or anything like that.
Oh yeah.
Something like version 5, or I can't remember what they're called.
The Gen 5 fighters.
Gen 5 fighters, yeah. So I was like, that is not worth my $20. I am sorry, guys. I am not paying $20.
There's another Top Gun DLC that you could have played this week that was free.
Yeah, on Microsoft Flight Simulator, which I haven't played the base game, and I'm not going to learn how to play that game.
You really should.
That's just way too many. There's lots of switches and stuff. That's a quote from.
Yeah, it sounds very complicated to fly.
Yeah, but anyway, it was really fun to go back into Ace Combat again. I haven't played it since I got my Series X, so this was the first time I saw it in up-res format or what I don't know. It looked really, really good. Made me want to kind of go back and do some more. My favorite part of that is when you are done and they kind of do the mission recap. Have you played them? Have either of you played Ace Combat games?
I have not, because I'm terrible at flying in games.
Okay. Well, it probably doesn't do well with your dizziness and stuff, right? You get a little seasick.
I do get motion sickness with some games.
So yeah, and to be truthful, Ace Combat 7 is the first time ever that I got motion sickness playing a video game, but to be fair, I was playing in VR. And I had never played a flight game in VR, and I was at E3, played it in VR, and I got pretty motion sick. So not regular, but anyway, that's besides the point. But my favorite part of Ace Combat games is after you do the mission, they do this like crazy zoomed out view of the entire battlefield, but they don't use the actual, you're not watching like video, you're watching like these little models of the planes doing all of the swooping and turning and flipping and everything. And you can see your plane go through and take out all these things, and they just turn into little X's, and then you see them kind of go down. I don't know. I every single time I go through and I watch all
like
those
a zoomed
planes.
out, what is it, Super Meat Boy?
Yeah, like imagine Super Meat Boy, where you see like all your deaths at one time, but in this case, you're not seeing your deaths. You're seeing everybody else's deaths, or your wingmen that get shot down. You're seeing all the action from a zoomed out view, and you see the little trails behind them as they go, so you see what patterns they do. I don't know. It's just very, very satisfying to see. I did that. I went after it and did this in this order, and that's a lot of fun. So Ace Combat 7 is something I caught up on this week. I'm looking to get back into some other games too. I'm getting into that rut where I'm missing playing some older games that I've either missed or would like to go back and replay instead of playing new stuff. So hopefully I can remedy that this summer. But there you go. It's games we've been catching up on. Let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. All right, got a couple trailers to share with you this week. First off, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Zach is really annoyed that he's not here to talk about that, I'm sure.
My heart goes out to him.
I know.
My weeb friend.
Also, we got a teaser for Sonic Frontiers. I know Kevin is really excited about that. And then a trailer for Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed, which is a remaster of Destroy All Humans 2. Also, Microsoft is apparently working on an Xbox cloud streaming device. We got some new games coming to Nintendo Switch Online, as well as Game Pass and Games with Gold. And we've got some new TV shows based on God of War and Horizon announced. And then, let's see, I guess that's it. So, CB, you've been gone the longest. Which of these stories would you like to talk about?
I mean, do you really need to ask?
Yeah, I do, actually. That's why I asked. I'm not really sure where you're going with this.
There's a lightsaber right behind me, sir.
Okay. Wasn't sure.
I was not expecting this.
I mean, we knew it existed.
We knew it existed.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect it to get hit in the face with a cinematic trailer at random.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like E3 season is starting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I know E3 isn't a thing right now, but there has been a lot of announcements and, what's going to happen. We got what's the Summer of Games thing that Jeff Keighley's doing?
Is it the Summer Games Fest?
Summer Games Fest. And then, we've got the Microsoft Showcase coming. It's feeling like E3 season and things are ramping up. And this feels like the kickoff, kind of like Top Gun was the kickoff for summer movies. The announcement of Star Wars Jedi Survivor definitely feels like the kickoff to, and I'm saying this in air quotes, E3 season for obvious reasons. But what'd you think of the trailer?
What a gorgeous trailer.
It was beautiful.
It's stunning.
I am already just like all aboard the hype train.
Oh, me too.
Because, the first one was so good. That
everything about that game, even though I'm not like a big Souls guy, and that game kind of plays like a Souls game, I played it on easy and just still enjoyed the hell out of it.
I just want to know what's coming.
Story-wise, or?
Well, like, story-wise, like, how do you improve on that formula?
I mean, there are things that you can do. People complained about the map in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which I didn't get. I had no problem with the map.
Yeah, I had no problem with that either.
I didn't either.
But I also played Metroid Prime at 1, 2, and 3, and that felt very reminiscent of that. So I didn't know if that's why it felt easy to me. I don't know. I didn't understand the issues with the map. It just felt very easy for me to follow. But again, things like Elden Ring and Souls games are super hard to me. So it's just to each their own.
I'm just really excited because we already know that with the Star Wars extended universe being like made legends and all that.
Mm-hmm.
We know that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is canon for like the Star Wars series.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes place right after Order 66 for obvious reasons, right? Okay.
So I'm curious to see like with the time frame that Disney's doing with all the Star Wars stuff, like where is this going to fit in? Who's going to make an appearance? Like just what's going to be brought back into the fold from the expanded universe? Because I know there's a lot of people like, bring Star Killer, and I'm like, I would be super excited, but I don't think that's going to happen.
That's who some people are questioning is who's in the back to tank.
I would love to see Sam Witwer in that glorious, beautiful graphical style, but I don't know if that's going to be him.
No, well, I can tell you already, because the person in the back to tank had long blonde hair. Not blonde, but more like gray.
Yeah.
People were saying it looked like Raiden from Metal Gear Solid.
Could you imagine,
halfway through the game, you just stop playing as Cal Kestis and you start playing as whoever's in the back to tank?
Yeah.
You watch, that happens. We're going to go back to this episode, 399. Remember.
Oh my gosh.
They pulled a Metal Gear Solid 2.
Bait and switch. No, like, I don't think it's Starkiller, because remember, Starkiller has black hair and it's short.
What about the dude from Shadows of the Empire?
Dash Rendar.
Dash Rendar.
Also, short hair and black.
hey, it grows while you're in the bacta tank. You're filled with all that healthy nutrients. It's going to make vitamins help your hair grow.
I have a feeling it's somebody else, though.
Who do you think it is?
Starkiller's mentor, the guy that was like blind.
Man, it's been a minute since I played that. I thought Darth Vader was Starkiller's mentor.
Well, he was, but then when he like rebels and there's like the old blind Jedi that survived Order 66.
I'm one with the Force and the Force is one with me. That guy? I'm just kidding.
I don't know. It's been a while.
I think I said the quote wrong too, but no, that was from Rogue One. I would remember.
Yeah.
The guy who wasn't actually a Jedi.
Right.
He was just Force sensitive. No, man, but there's so many cool characters that could be brought in. I
just want that to be somebody new. I want it to not be anything from the past. If anything from all the Disney shows, I don't want.
You would be so excited if it was somehow bringing Starkiller in.
I would be excited, but I would be excited for a minute, and then I would be depressed that it's not just something new. Because there's so much exciting universe in Star Wars. There's
your bait and switch. Instead of playing Raiden, you wind up playing Starkiller. And you're like, okay, I'm on board. Let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't play it, right? Zach has so many thoughts. He's screaming at his headphones right now.
I know.
Anyway, this game releases in 2023. I can't remember if you guys read this, but picking up 5 years after the events of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor is a third-person, narrative-driven action-adventure game from Respawn Entertainment, developed in collaboration with Lucasfilm Games. That's a whole lot of information that we clearly already knew. But, 2023 is looking a little brighter already, for sure. While we're talking about trailers, I want to mention the Sonic Frontiers teaser trailer. Did either of you watch it?
No, I have not watched that one yet. I was watching everything else.
I was as well.
It's again, like, I did not expect to get slapped in the face with all these trailers this week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Destroy All Humans, too. I don't know who's asking for that, but...
Me.
Are you really?
Have you not played them?
I played the first one. I reviewed the first one. Like, when we get
fun.
the remaster of that one. It's a little too
dumb
silly for
fun.
Me. But Sonic Frontiers, we just got a little snippet of some of the gameplay. It looks really good, man. It's looking pretty good.
This is the one that they're attempting to make open world.
Yes, and then you got a brief glimpse of that.
Oh wait, no. I did see some of this.
It looks really interesting.
Yeah, like it doesn't look 100% open world to me. More like that kind of like wide band open world.
That's kind of how I like. But again, we don't know for sure. And by the time those of you listening hear this, there will actually be more information dropped, because tomorrow, which is Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, we're supposed to get a lot more information about what that game is. This is just a teaser to get us hyped up for it. So you guys already know. We don't. We're kind of clueless. So, anywho, Alyssa, moving on, what other stories would you like to talk about?
I'm intrigued by the 2 new TV shows we're getting. I mean, we're getting Horizon on, is it Netflix, I believe?
Horizon is on Netflix, yes. God of War is going to be on Amazon, which is interesting in itself that Sony's going with 2 different, services for these shows.
And then also a Gran Turismo movie.
Why?
I still don't understand.
I don't know that one. I don't know what I don't know.
I remember when we said, like, they're going to make a movie on Battleship. They're going to make a movie. Wasn't there going to be a Tetris movie at one point?
I believe I heard something about
still
that.
Still in the works.
Yeah.
I really want to know what that means. I have no idea what that could mean. But anyway, we thought the same thing for Battleship. We thought the same, thing for Tetris.
Well, Battleship was terrible.
I mean, Gran Turismo could just be like imagine like what's that Tom Cruise racing movie you like so much? Days of Thunder?
Oh, yeah, Days of Thunder.
How dare you disgrace that movie?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
Cole Trickle would be ashamed of you.
His name is Cole Trickle?
I was going to be like, what kind of name is...
Is that really
I'm
his
sorry,
name?
CB, but that's a terrible name.
In the Mellow Yellow Ford.
That's even worse.
Hey now. Leave me alone.
Mellow Yellow is the Mellow Yellow of sodas.
Well, the racing team had the Mellow Yellow car and the Hardee's car.
I remember the Hardee's car. Hardee's doesn't even exist anymore, I don't think, does it?
Yes, they do.
Does, yeah.
Carl's Jr.
No.
It's Hardee's.
It's Carl's Jr. in the South.
Here, it's Hardee's.
Oh, is it? I missed
There's
Hardee's.
one about 5 minutes from my house.
There's one like 15 minutes from your house.
Oh, that's right. No, they changed it to a Carl's Jr. The one up by the truck stop?
Up across the border into Wisconsin?
Weird. Nobody cares about Hardee's, dude. Gran Turismo could just basically be a story based on, racing. It's not, but that game has got to be like all kinds of gorgeous shots of different cars.
The only thing that comes to my brain is budget Fast and the Furious.
No, I don't think it needs to be as ridiculous. Like maybe Fast and the Furious, the original, where it actually has like a heist kind of story and
more serious.
Yeah, before they started going
terrible,
insane. You know what? I'll watch Days of Thunder if you watch some Fast and the Furious with me this summer.
We've already had this conversation.
I think you owe me a Fast and the Furious movie at this point.
I owe you a Fast and the Furious because there was some other movies you were going to watch with me.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. But Alyssa, why did these TV shows intrigue you so much?
I mean, I love the God of War and Horizon franchises. I haven't really delved into the Gran Turismo franchise, to be honest. But I'm just excited and kind of nervous to see how these shows turn out. They could be really, really good, or they could be terrible.
Yeah.
They could, but Uncharted was pretty solid, in my opinion.
I did enjoy the Uncharted movie. It was fun.
Uncharted was like a good balance between a film that was for people that didn't know the game and for people that did know the game. But
with the roughness of Halo,
War, huh?
With the roughness of Halo,
I still only watched the first episode of Halo.
I have not watched Halo yet.
It's
yeah,
but that's also Microsoft. This is Sony.
God
of War, though, the key to God of War is going to be that cast. Who do you cast as Kratos? I think casting Aloy would be easier. You know, I mean, my choice for Aloy is a little spot on the nose. But what are you gonna say? Don't you dare say.
I was gonna say if you're talking God of War, I was like, if you say The Rock, I'm gonna reach through this and punch you in the face.
No, my pick for Aloy in Horizon, and I cannot think of the actress's name. She's most recently been on The Time Traveler's Wife on HBO.
Rose Leslie. She was God, what was her name in Game of Thrones?
Ygritte.
Ygritte.
Ygritte in Game of Thrones.
Yeah. There's your choice.
That's your Aloy. Like, I don't know why that's not already a done deal, but I can't think of anybody for God of War. I mean, that's a very difficult The Rock
decision.
Doesn't make any sense.
You can't use The Rock. You can't use Dave Bautista. You almost need to just go
rogue.
Pick somebody that nobody knows. Though I would love to see Hafthor Bjornsson, because I mean the dude is huge. The Mountain.
Oh yeah.
Which mountain? Because there was like 4 of them in the show.
The most important one, the one that fought the Mandalorian.
What was his name? It's Pedro Pascal, but
okay.
What was his name in the show?
Viper. Oberyn.
Yeah,
Oberyn Martell. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's Hafthor Bjornsson. Like that dude is like legit 7'2". Just
he might be too big.
No, that's not a thing.
I don't know, because I mean, Kratos is massive, but he's more massive in stature and muscles. Like I don't know, I'm contradicting myself, but the thick neck thing is a problem for me.
Yeah, like
you know what I mean.
And see, that's gonna be the problem: is you can't choose somebody who's well built but too thin,
right? But
just way too beefy.
Right.
So
I think there's such a thing as too beefy for Kratos, because he's cut, but he's not like, who is it? Okay. Brock Lesnar that has those delt. No. What are those things that like come up to his ears? Those muscles on
it,
his
man.
I don't know what those are, but
traps.
Trapezoids.
Not trapezoid. Trap.
I got trapezoids on my shoulders. Geometry, man.
I teach geometry to 4th graders. Okay. What are those things called? Trapeze?
I'm just gonna let you keep digging a hole, man. It's great.
What are those things called? Where's Dr. Newman? He'll come in here and correct me with this.
Trapezoids.
They're not called trapezoids. They're not called trapezes.
Nope,
they're called traps, aren't they?
I'm just gonna call them trapezoids.
You are in the medical field. You don't know what these things are called?
I don't need to know. I just fix the things.
All right. Anyway, this is interesting because Sony seems to be the one that's firing on all cylinders, no pun intended, Gran Turismo, with these adaptations of popular games, because they had Uncharted, they've got Ghost of Tsushima coming, the Last of Us series is coming, and the Twisted Metal show is coming. Those are like the real big heavy hitters. Like games that I would actually want a series based on, unlike, sure, I wanted Halo, you know what I mean? But Assassin's Creed, I'm not sure. I wanted it, just not the way they did it. They keep doing Resident Evil for some reason. You know what I mean? Like, these are all series that I would make great movies or great television shows.
I completely agree with you, other than Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo just seems like a weird choice. But that could just totally be an eye candy movie, honestly.
I think it should just be a documentary, honestly.
Documentary, or I don't know, just like tours of different. Yeah, I guess a documentary would be.
Yeah.
That's one of the fun things to do in Gran Turismo, is just take a tour of the inside of the vehicle, right? And go check out all the interior, because they're so detailed.
Well, I mean, the better one was from Forza 4 when the Top Gear crew did them.
That's true. I would like to talk about this Xbox cloud streaming service, which has not been announced, but the codename Keystone has been thrown around. Windows Central has confirmed that this device does exist. If you're not familiar with what it would be, is just like a dongle, that you hook up via HDMI that will allow you to play Game Pass and give access to cloud streaming, which is kind of the dream. I mean, people are paying, $300 for a Xbox One S right now, $500 for an Xbox Series X. I think I said that wrong, but you get where I'm going with that. Now you can just plug in a dongle and hook up any Xbox controller to it. That's the future, right? That's really the future. If the streaming works the way it's
funny
advertised.
That you bring this up, because I noticed that I was accidentally playing some games on my Series X just streaming.
How do you? You accidentally chose to stream it?
Well, I was playing Guardians of the Galaxy the other day. And I didn't notice that I had, at some point in time, deleted it off my Series X. Mm-hmm. So I was just in my library, and I'm like, oh, yeah. You know what? I feel like just cleaning up some of these achievements. Went to hit play, and it just reverted me into the streaming because I hadn't downloaded it.
So did you notice any difference? Was there any latency issues? Or
No, not at all.
It's crazy.
And I think that's one of the reasons why this is becoming such a rise right now, is because it's going to be so much easier to make a little dongle that you can just stream off of than to make these $400, $500, $600 consoles
with the expensive chips and shortages and all that kind of good stuff. So
yeah, I mean, granted, after a few minutes, I did notice, like, ooh, this doesn't feel like 100% 4K, but it wasn't bad enough that I'm like, this looks terrible.
But the technology is still somewhat early. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be iterated upon, and I just feel like consoles are going to be a thing that we don't even do anymore. I mean, look at movies. I can't tell you the last time I played a movie off of my Blu-ray player, DVD player, anything like that. Everything just goes off of my Chromecast or like my smart TV. I think that there's going to be just like smart TVs that are going to have the Xbox built right into it.
Yeah.
You don't even need the dongle.
It's already getting to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually think that we're maybe 2 generations away from no longer having consoles.
At all? Like, I think people are still going to want a console, because I still think that you're going to have a better local experience, and then you don't have to worry. You could still have a disc. You could still download. You know what I mean?
Would you rather spend $500 or $30?
I don't think it'll be 30. I still think it'll be $100.
I don't think so.
I mean, if they really want to push the Game Pass, then yeah. Because at that point, if you buy a dongle, if you buy whatever this thing is going to be called, and you don't keep subscribing to it, then you've got a wasted piece of hardware that you bought. So you're going to be more.
I could almost see these being paired in with controllers.
Yeah. That's what Stadia tried to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Microsoft does it better.
That's true. That's true. We are being told not to expect an announcement anytime soon, even at Xbox's showcase next month. This thing is a long ways away. Apparently, it needs more iterations before coming to market. They've got a lot of work to do on it, but it'll be here next generation for sure. I would assume. So I thought that was cool. One other thing I wanted to talk about, I know we got some new games coming to Switch Online. The one that sticks out to me is Pinball. I actually went back and played a little bit of the original Pinball on NES. I won $20 off my dad playing that game when I was a kid. I truly believe that game is the game that spawned my love for pinball, because I realized I was good at it. I was down to one ball. My dad was beating me. My stepdad was beating me by crazy amount of points, and he like laughingly joked, said, "I'll give you $20 if you can beat that score." And I sat down and said, "I'm going to do this," and I did it. I won $20. Also, we got a bunch of new games coming to Game Pass, and it makes me so mad. I finally fell victim to this. I just bought Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, 3 weeks ago?
As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, Scott just bought that too.
I just bought that game, and I played it for a couple hours, really had a good time with it, and planned to get back into it, and now it's like on Game Pass. If I had just waited, I could have that $30 back. And Chorus is another one that I'd love to get back into and play, because I only played it for a couple hours. If I had just waited, I'd have been fine, so
and
really upset by that.
I really think Microsoft just has their formula down pat. They're like, release a game. Cool. After 3 months, we're probably going to sell all that we're going to sell. Throw it on Game Pass.
At what point are people going to stop buying games, though, and be like,
the FOMO, man.
I'm just going to wait.
It's all about that FOMO.
FOMO is a thing. But for me, I mean, it's not like I've never played Ninja Gaiden Master Collection. Why did I have to buy it? I never thought that game would come to Game Pass. That just seemed like a big get to me.
But again, that's the big thing, is you don't know what's going to come or when.
Pretty
so
much.
that's what's still going to drive those sales.
Yeah. The other one, Games with Gold, is getting Super Meat Boy on Xbox 360. If you have not played Super Meat Boy, highly recommend that game.
Just be prepared for blisters all over your hands.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but it is so satisfying. And it does that thing we talked about earlier, where it shows you every playthrough that you did all at once.
Blisters and stress fractures in your controllers.
Yeah. People make fun of me because I won't play games like Elden Ring and Dark Souls, but I play games like Super Meat Boy and, Volgar the Viking, and what's the other hard one that I play? Celeste.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't say Celeste's that hard.
Well, Celeste does have that mode you can play and you don't die or anything like that.
Did you beat Celeste, CB?
I think I did.
Yeah.
It was the B-sides. Like the B-sides, yes, I will agree. They are hard.
Base game is pretty tough too, man.
It is, yeah.
It's real tough towards the end.
But it's not like you have a limited amount of lives.
No, nothing
just
like
keep
that.
Going.
And they do the thing where if you die, you just get immediately spawned back. Man, I love replaying that game. Anyway, that's the week's news. Let's go ahead and move on. We've got some new episodes available on our Patreon page. Yes, we have a Patreon page where you can contribute some dollars to help offset the costs of production for this very podcast. And we'd like to thank you for that with some bonus episodes. If you contribute at the $3 per month level, we give you 1 bonus episode a month. And at the $5 tier, we give you 2 bonus episodes. And what do you know? We have 2 brand new episodes available. CB, what are those episodes that people can listen to?
The Sonic 2 movie spoiler cast and legacy episode of Sonic, as well as the new series Trade-Off, where we pitted an elf versus a rat.
That sounds fascinating, guys.
Well, here's what we did. Kevin dared me to play a Sonic game, because I've never beaten one, ever. So he gave me Sonic 1 and said, you're going to play this game, you're going to beat it. I gave him Link to the Past, which he's never played, ever. He's played a Zelda game, but he's never played that one. And we each played them, beat them, and we sat down and shared about our experiences with it. And it's kind of a fresh spin on the break the seal formula. So instead of just one person breaking the seal, we got 2 people breaking the seal, and kind of a dare. And Kevin and I are already working on another one. He wants me to play Sonic Generations, and he's going to play Link's Awakening. So
I get the elf versus rat comment now. It took a little bit for my brain. I'm like,
yeah.
Are they talking about a D&D thing or something?
No. Zelda versus Sonic.
Speaking of which, also, we have some upcoming stuff. Max Payne 1 and 2 break the seal. And then, as Scott was mentioning, the Link's Awakening versus Sonic Generations. Also, with summertime coming, Scott, I have a whole torrent of pain.
All right.
Oh.
For games that aren't for us, ready for you.
Sounds good. I am, my body is ready, as Reggie would say. Anyway, if any of those episodes sound intriguing to you, or you'd just like to help us out over here, we don't keep any of the dollars for ourselves. We use them to purchase games for review and then turn around and give them away to the community, which reminds me, I have not done a giveaway for the month of May, so I will be doing 2 giveaways for the month of June, so stay tuned for those. But again, if you'd like to contribute, head over to patreon.com/thegocast. We would love your support. Now let's go ahead and jump into the new games that we've been playing. All right, Zach is unfortunately not here. As we mentioned at the top of the show, he usually reads these off, but I'm going to go ahead and read off the new games that you can purchase right now if you would like. First off, SnowRunner comes to PS5 and Series X and S on May 31st. That's today. If you're not familiar with that, that is it looks like
truckers.
Trucker simulator, but it's like driving large trucks up mountains and over rivers and through the woods.
I've seen people rave about this game on Twitter, by the way.
It looks very, very hardcore. Silt coming to PS5, PS4, Series X and S, and Xbox One and Switch and PC on June 1st. It looks like Underwater Limbo to me, and I'm all for it.
I want to play this.
Let's see. Alyssa, I may get some help from you here. Pinku Cult, Hex Mortis on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC June 1st. Looks like a turn-based JRPG. Boy, the characters look like they are marionettes moving. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I was intrigued by the gameplay concept, but seeing the characters move is what kind of put me off.
Yeah, well, maybe me too. Card Shark is coming to Switch and PC. This is an interesting game where you play gambling card games in a, Renaissance era. And your
graphics are gorgeous.
It seems across multiple eras.
Yeah.
But it seems to me like it's a bunch of mini games.
And it's all about cheating.
Yeah.
It's like encouraging you to cheat at these card games, which is interesting. Diablo Immortal, for those of you that have phones, is coming to iOS, Android, PC, June 22nd. By the way, that game has crossplay with PC. So you can actually play with people on PC.
Awful.
Dude,
That's only people on PC would have an advantage.
I love Diablo too, but man, let me crossplay my phone with a PC.
I don't know, man. Tap, tap, tap instead of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Could be good. Next up is Gig Apocalypse, which is a kaiju-looking game with pixelated graphics. PS4, Xbox One, Switch, June 2nd. Soldiers looks like a gear-gated adventure without the gear-gated, where you can play as 3 different characters going through a 2D map. PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, June 2nd. Unexplored 2, The Wayfarer's Legacy, coming to PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, PC, June 2nd. And then Super Perils of Baking, which a platformer where you play as a baker.
Yeah.
Pretty much sums it up. PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, PC, June 3rd. Alyssa, which of these titles are tripping your trigger?
Not many. If Pinku Cult were to be on Game Pass one day, I'd probably give it a shot. But that's probably the only game I'd play because, honestly, even though Silt looks beautiful, I was not a fan of Limbo.
I love Limbo.
I'm bad at platformers. I'm just gonna admit that. So.
Well, there's no platforming on this one. This is all swimming underwater.
That's true. So maybe Silt.
How about you, CB?
Oh, I'm there for Silt.
Silt too, huh?
So I'm there for Silt and Card Shark.
Ah, nice. I am all over Soldiers, which, by the way, Soldiers is spelled Souldiers. Doesn't that just look like a Scott Clark game?
Yeah, it really does. I will say Super Perils of Baking looks kind of interesting.
I like that you collect cookies instead of coins.
Yeah.
CB, you pick that one up. We'll sit down and play that one together on the couch, like pass the controller style this summer.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Unexplored 2, kind of the graphics and playstyle reminded me of that, one game that you played, Creature in the Well.
Oh yeah, okay.
And like as soon as I saw it, I was like, this looks familiar.
I don't want to say in gameplay, it looks just very like Explorer without a whole lot of like combat or anything, but
yeah.
So anyway, those are the games coming out. You can go buy those right now. Let's talk about the games we've actually been playing though.
So Scott, you are playing and reviewing Kao the Kangaroo for us, which by watching the trailer, it made me think of games from the, I wouldn't say older years.
Yeah,
but, you know, from my childhood.
Older years.
But, I mean, like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, other games of that nature. Is that what it's like to play it?
I would say it's more akin to games like from the N64 era, like Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey Kong 64, that type of game. It's a 3D platformer where you play as a kangaroo with boxing gloves, which was kind of an immediate turn on to me because, and CB, you'll probably remember this, but there was an old Atari 2600 game called Kangaroo.
Oh, yeah.
You were a mother kangaroo that was trying to rescue the baby kangaroo and she wore boxing gloves. So that's all it reminded me of. But this game is full 3D, hub and spoke type game where you have these different hubs and they take you to different levels. And much like in fashion of games like Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong 64, you're collecting, letters that spell KO, which is not the letters KNO, but KAO. You're collecting, jewels. There's a certain number of checklisty things that you can do in each level. You also collect these rune stones, which allow you to unlock, other levels that you can, progress to. There's something like 15 levels in the entire game.
Okay.
I'm very early in the game, and I've only actually gotten to one boss so far. I literally downloaded this last night. But is it a game that looks like it would be fun to you, Alyssa?
I don't know, per se. It reminds me a lot of my childhood. Yeah. But, nostalgia kind of, blinds us in some ways to the faults these games had in the past.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I felt like I was totally blindfolded by my nostalgia with my desire to play this game. Because this game... Okay, I'm going to start with the positives, because this game mechanically works great. Kao does everything that I tell him to do. The graphics are actually very crisp, look really good, very vibrant. Everything runs smooth as butter. I don't have any technical issues whatsoever, except for one glaring thing. The developers purposely decided for some reason, and I know some of you are not going to feel sorry for me on this, purposely decided to not allow me to invert the camera with the right stick, which doesn't make the game unplayable, but it makes it very, very unenjoyable for someone that is constantly trying to rotate the camera up and wind up looking at the floor instead, and vice versa. Why a game exists in 2022 that does not allow me to invert my view, I get it. Some people don't need to invert their view. I do, guys. I'm sorry. I need to invert my view. It makes it a little bit difficult. But outside of that, again, very early on, I haven't even earned any of the abilities. But guys, this game is very, very simple. I feel like this is a game that is very much geared towards kids.
Okay.
It's the combat is very simplistic. It's you punch, you have some mini combos, you have a finishing move, and that's all I've been able to do. Apparently, you get some ice abilities, fire abilities later on, but they're more for puzzles than anything else. And it just feels very okay. And I hate saying that about a game that a developer has spent so much time in, especially making a game like this look good. I'm still going to go through it, and hopefully it gets better as I go. But my early impressions are, it's somewhat generic. CB, you look like you want to say something.
I'm just so surprised that this game got made.
Why is that?
Because this has been a defunct series since 2005.
I didn't even know
it was a
series until yesterday.
This is the fourth entry in this series.
How have I never heard of the series before?
So, Kao the Kangaroo originally came out on Dreamcast with number 1.
That was 2000, right?
Yeah. Number 2 was Kao Round 2 on the Xbox, PS2, and GameCube. And then number 3, Kao Challengers, was on PC only in 2005.
Wow.
So, I'm sitting here, I'm like, are we that desperate that we're digging that far into the well?
here's the thing. I feel like there was a lot of potential with a game like this because it's.
Yeah.
I mean, a kangaroo with boxing gloves is kind of fun.
He looks so cute.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there's not potential, but I'm like, of all the defunct stuff out there, like I'm gonna wind up playing this at some point in time because I played KO1 and KO2. I didn't play the PC one.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like, I'm so surprised of like, we seem to be dipping into the well for defunct properties. Like a couple years ago, there was the Medieval, like Jak and Daxter, Crash.
Jak and Daxter's not a bad one.
I'm not saying it's a bad one, but we just seem to be digging farther and farther into the stuff that nothing's come out in a long time.
I would say people are clamoring for a Jak and Daxter before they were clamoring for a Kao the Kangaroo.
Yeah,
but, that's besides the point.
But it gets me excited because I liked some of these games. Like I liked KO Round 2 on GameCube.
Oh, okay.
So I'm excited that some of these old defunct properties are finally getting their due justice and being brought back with modern control schemes, minus your hate for like inversion.
The lack of inversion. I just don't understand. Seriously, was almost a deal breaker for me. It's so frustrating, man.
I'm excited because it leaves with this trend going. It makes things like the possibility of like another Soul Reaver.
Oh, I want that so bad.
Or like so many other games that have been pushed aside for so long. But like KO is definitely it's been on my radar. I'm just glad that you got it before I did.
I'm like I said, I got some more to go through it. This would be a fun pass the controller game. Maybe we should do that.
I was going to ask if there's co-op in it.
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know of another.
I don't think
I was going to say it sounds like it would be a good game to play with maybe your kid or someone.
Yeah, maybe.
You know,
if
they had that option.
I'm excited to see where it goes and hopefully that things improve. But the other negative I've got about this game is the voice acting is very cringeworthy and the writing is very cringeworthy.
Oh yeah, that can be very distracting from the game.
Shenmue cringeworthy?
No, like bad Borderlands cringeworthy. Like they're trying to pull in pop culture references in weird ways. Like there's a guy that flies a plane for you and he's a pelican. And my mind immediately goes to Launchpad McQuack.
I was going to say Animal Crossing.
Okay. And it feels like they're going they're trying to tiptoe the line of DuckTales without getting sued. But then like the first boss I fought, my character, who he's played by like a teenager. The line that he says right before the fight is, "I'm here to kick your butt and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum."
Oh, did they live?
Yeah,
Rowdy Piper would be severely disheartened.
Or Duke Nukem. I mean, I know Duke Nukem stole it from
Rowdy.
From Rowdy Piper.
Rowdy Piper.
I don't know. It's just lines like that just make me kind of shut up. Nobody can see you do the motion where you just brought your arm. Trapezoids. I'm gonna work on my trapezoids.
We swear it's a really funny motion, guys. You just can't see it.
Anyway, so Kao the Kangaroo. It is only $20. I'm playing it on PS5, but it is also available on Xbox and PC, I believe, as well. But it's wait for a sale or wait for
Games with Gold,
Game Pass or Games with Gold, because this is. I'm not loving it. I'm really not loving it. Like even the coins that you get, you collect little coins that have the letter D on them for some reason. I can't. It's some kind of currency in the game, and all you can really buy are quarter hearts. Which you can increase your health by 1 heart if you get 4 of them, or extra lives, or cosmetics. That's literally all you can buy with them. Like it's just
this. I mean, this game really does seem like it's ripe for a Games with Gold or Game Pass or PlayStation Premium.
But I also don't like that because I still think there are some quality titles that are good that are put on there. So we got Super Meat Boy this week. I would much rather play Super Meat Boy, but I also know that that's a very difficult game. This is a very chill game. You're not gonna struggle. Although I did struggle with the boss because the first boss of the game you only have 3 hearts, so you have to get through the entire boss encounter, which is 3 stages, and you can only get hit twice. So it's not very difficult, but it's some goofy patterns that you have to memorize. So it kind of does the deal where the game is easy, and then the boss suddenly has some challenge to it. Not overly challenging, but we only have 3 hits. That makes those bosses, because nothing is worse than a game that you're just kind of ho-humming through, and then you die on a boss in the last stage, and you have to go through and do the whole thing over again. It's annoying, but anyway, Kao the Kangaroo. Ko is spelled Kao. Might want to wait on this one. So, CB, you've been playing Sniper Elite 5. This was speaking of Game Pass, this was released on Game Pass, about 4 or 5 days ago?
About 5 days ago now.
I have not played a Sniper Elite game since, I want to say, 3. Has the formula changed much, or is it pretty much the same thing?
It has.
Okay.
But
I'm
not in a positive way.
Oh, no. Okay.
What happens when you take Sniper Elite and cross it with Elden Ring?
What?
Yeah.
I'm trying to picture this.
So in Elden Ring, people can invade your game and kill you. Now imagine playing a stealth sniper game where they can do the same thing.
That kind of defeats the whole purpose of being a sniper, because it's fun to hide and not get found, and now you can be found.
Yep.
Is it fun to go hunt other snipers? Or is it just a griefing thing?
So we'll get there in a second. Let's back up.
Okay.
Sniper Elite, love the series. I've played 1, 2, 3, and 4 to completion.
Wow.
5, I got excited because I'm like, ooh, and it's going to be free on Game Pass. Download it. By the way, large download. 80 gigabytes.
Holy cow.
And when you boot this game up, you understand why. It is beautiful.
Oh, really? Okay, well, that's good. That's a plus, at least.
And it is large maps. So before, I remember, I think it was like up to Sniper 3. It was like, get in, like you start here, work your way through this very linear level, shoot the target, level done.
Mm-hmm.
This one is go into level, shoot target, go loot target, more stuff happens. So I took out like the first target, and it's like, oh, well, you finish this one. There's also optional targets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mm-hmm.
On my way to doing one of those, oh, look, random enemy that is also on your target list has entered the map. You can kill him to knock him off the list. I'm like, man, there's so much. And these are not small levels. Like, even, like, because I don't sprint in these games. Like, I try to be sneaky. But I wound up running at one point in time, and it took me a good 10 minutes to run across this map. So it is a large map.
Okay. The thing that bugged me about the past games, though, was the moments in between sniping. Like, because all I wanted to do was snipe, hide in the bushes, and I felt that if I got made, then I had to get, into normal third-person combat or melee combat. I just didn't want to do that. But you have that going on here?
Well, yeah, because it's realistic.
Okay.
So I just suck. If you fire a shot into a group of people, they're going to be like, "Hey, the shot came from that way. Let's go check it out."
Mm-hmm.
You can't sit there and just keep sniping over and over because the AI is like, "No, we're going to hide and sneak through using the terrain to get to where we think the shot came from."
So can you just like take a couple shots and then reposition yourself somewhere else?
Oh yeah, you can do that.
Okay. I just don't want to engage. I just don't like. Are you able to get through an entire level without ever having to engage?
Oh yeah, you can do that.
Combat?
It's hard.
It's hard. Yeah.
Like the difficulty ramps up when you try to do that. But yeah, the AI is so good. They've added some new bullet trajectory stuff into this, where you actually have to like set range. Like use your binoculars, you spot your target. It says like, 250 meters away. You can actually adjust your scope for windage and range now.
Nice.
So instead of like before we were like, ooh, okay,
Eyeballing it and guessing it.
Like eyeball, like, okay, well, if this is dead center at 50, go up 2 ticks, adjust for wind. Like you can actually now do that with the scope, which I was like, ooh, that's a big quality of life improvement for these types of games. The X-ray shots are still fun. I will say that.
That was the draw for those games, honestly.
Yeah, it really was, especially with the
testicles
shooting the nether regions.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, got there.
You can literally shoot somebody's nuts off.
Yeah, you
it's kind of painful to watch.
It is. But so this new mode though, Invasion, you can turn it off. I didn't know. So I just went right into the game and I shot the first target and I'm like plodding my way along. I'm like, I'm going to go loot the guy. And all of a sudden it's like a big red thing goes, you've been invaded. And I'm like, what? When did this happen? And all of a sudden, boom, shot. And I'm like, what? When did I start playing Elden Ring?
Well,
like that was the first thing that popped into my head. Yeah, you can if you start all over.
Oh.
Because if you enable it when you start your campaign, that's how it go.
How far into it were you before you realized that?
Luckily, I was in the first one, but I had already taken down 3 objectives. I'm like, this makes me angry.
Yeah, I'd be starting over.
I mean, they don't warn you about it at all before you start playing?
Well, I thought ooh, you're being invaded. Do you want this to happen? Because this is something new for this franchise. I did not expect this. But yes, you can also invade other people's games and be a troll.
I have no desire to do that.
Yeah.
I don't either.
For a game that this is now the 5th iteration of this game, and now you're going to include something like this? For fans of the series like me, it's a little maddening.
Yeah, but if you can turn it off, I'm okay with it. Because some people do like that and like the challenge. Because I imagine there's got to be some kind of reward for, taking out the other guy that's trying to invade you, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how it works in Elden Ring either.
But the guy did not show up on my mini-map. Because that's always the thing with Sniper Elite is the enemies have always shown up on your mini-map.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. So it's legitimate, you are hunting them and they are hunting you. And it is hard.
Okay. So you recommend this or no then?
It's Game Pass, man. It's free. If you got Xbox.
We live in a world where it's hard. Just try it. You don't need my my opinion. Download your 80 gigs and then
chew your 80 gigs and or just stream it.
I don't know, the larger maps kind of make me think of Hitman series where
I could actually agree with that. It does feel like there's a little bit of Hitman blended in as well.
Mm-hmm.
With the multiple ways to finish the level.
Yeah, kind of figure out your own way to do it instead of a linear path like it was in the previous game.
That's so crazy to think that this game is now okay. Let's take Sniper Elite, blend in some Elden Ring, and blend in some Hitman.
Hey, it's something different.
I give them credit. They're trying something new. It's just, man, I don't like being invaded by other players in what has almost always been a single player experience.
You can turn it off, man. You just need to pay attention more.
Still, I don't want it. I don't want it. But yeah, actually, if you like shooting games, realistic, I guess sniper simulators for World War II, man, give it a whirl because this one has cranked up the realism and the AI, even on medium, is no joke.
Yeah.
They have tactics. They will send one guy out and use other. Actually, I just thought of something else that you're going to find hilarious, Scott.
Okay.
I was in one of their bases and there's a mop in a corner. You can pick up a mop and use it as a decoy. As you're walking through the trench, just have the mop head bouncing up and down and use it to try to bait them out.
Oh, because you want to know where they're shooting from so that you can find them.
Yeah, because if they shoot, they show up on your mini radar. So the fact that you could literally do the comic, like, use a mop as a decoy. I'm like, that's actually pretty ingenious. Like, why hasn't this ever been tried before?
I don't know, but it makes me laugh, giggle like Alyssa just did.
I'm just picturing in my head.
So give it a whirl, man. And, like, it's honestly some good dumb fun.
All right. Sniper Elite 5. Before we move on, got another review for you. I talked to Rel about a game that he played for us. We'll go ahead and play that for you right now. Well, hello there, Rel. How you doing, man?
Doing great. I just got back from Santa Cruz, and I am only mildly burned.
I know you had to change your camera so that I could see just how mildly burned you were, but you definitely did get some sun. So welcome back to the show, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. You checked out a game for us called Eiyuden Chronicle Rising. I had to listen to the recording of that to make sure I was pronouncing that, because I was pronouncing it Eiyuden on the podcast.
It's Eiyuden.
They pronounce it incorrectly on the trailer then, man. I swear I listened to the trailer and they said Eiyuden, but say it again.
Well,
Eiyuden?
they're silly. Eiyuden, because
Eiyuden.
Yeah, because if you translate it to, if you put it in the original Japanese, it's Eiyuden. So Eiyuden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I forget that you're fluent in Japanese. I'm gonna have to use that to my advantage at some point. But talk to me about this game, because I don't know anything about this series. This is a completely new thing to me.
Well, it's a completely new thing to everybody because it's not even a series yet.
I thought it was. Okay, I totally misunderstood.
Well, sort of, kind of, because, like, this is meant to be the spiritual successor to the Suikoden series that was originally launched way back on the original PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
And they got, a lot of the same folks who worked on that, and they're trying to create the same type of thing where you're recruiting, like, over 100 allies and going through a epic journey that involves war and betrayal and all that. But this is not that. This is
just 3 characters.
This is not 100 Heroes. It also is more than 3 characters, but still. So 100 Heroes is the game that they're going to release next year in 2023. Rising is the appetizer, the amuse-bouche, if you will, to kind of tide us over until that, because I guess some folks at the studio just really liked platformers and Metroidvanias and wanted to just knock out something like that to tide us over. I don't know.
So is that other game going to be like this, or is this just an appetizer in terms of story?
No. Appetizer in terms of story, world, the lore, the characters. But no, the 100 Heroes, the one that's coming out next year, is going to be a straight-up turn-based RPG similar to the original Suikoden. Eiyuden Chronicle Rising is a Metroidvania platformer type thing that has nothing to do with what's coming out aside from, all those things that I mentioned before. So this game starts us off with CJ, who arrives in the town of, and I'm gonna find it here in the review there, New Nevaeh, which was a town that's Nevaeh? Dang it.
I actually had a student named Nevaeh, which, fun fact, Nevaeh is heaven spelled backwards.
Ah.
The look on your face of realization. It's great. Love it.
That's awful. Oh. Anyway, she arrives in Heaven which is a town that basically got knocked down entirely by an earthquake, but also happens to be sitting on top of a type of mine or barrow that is loaded with ancient artifacts that are worth, tons of money. So she's there because she's during coming of age rite, where she leaves her tribe and her family, and she cannot come back until she finds a treasure that is bigger than the one her ancestors brought back. So whatever her dad brought back, she's got to bring back something bigger.
Okay.
Yeah. So it starts out with that little bit of a hook, and then you gradually have to, gain entrance to the barrows via a stamp card that also acts as the game's way of tracking how many side quests you've completed. You go through, various environments and dungeons, and you kill monsters, and you gain party members. You do only gain 3 party members, but there's a whole bunch more characters in the town because a huge part of the game is helping the various aspiring merchants rebuild their shops and, help them provide services for you to enable you to make more progress in the barrows and the various dungeons.
Okay.
And it's overall, it's hard to it's hard to say good things without also being like, well, there's also a whole lot of nonsense. Amazing graphics, really great
gorgeous
soundtrack. Yeah, it even made my PS4 Pro go jet engine mode during the first boss fight.
Nice.
I'm not sure why, because during all the other boss fights it was fine, but during that one boss fight, apparently there was enough animations going on that the PS4 Pro is just like, oh god! But the game as a whole is just ridiculously repetitive and endlessly... I mean, let me put it this way. The main story is fine. It's nothing like super amazing. It's meant as an introduction to the world and to the lore and to the various factions that are in the world. And CJ's personal journey as well as the journeys of the 2 other party members that you recruit. But you have to do a whole lot of side quests in order to unlock the various, merchants that will provide you services that actually give you abilities that allow you to progress further in the main story. And almost all of those 160 quests are fetch quests, right?
Oh, that sucks.
like get X amount of Y material. Oh, and also get this amount of this material and this amount of this material, and bring them all back. And oh, by the way, this person also wants a collection of materials, and this person also wants this. And in universe, it makes sense because the town has been pretty much destroyed, wrecked. Like, all the buildings are gone. You are literally helping them rebuild entire streets worth of shops and businesses. But at the same time, you're having to retread and go back over the same dungeons back and forth over and over and over, trying to get enough materials to fill out these requests. And almost all of these requests are either find me a bunch of materials, find the thing that I lost, or kill this thing so that I can get the thing that I lost.
Oh. Can you overlap those, though? Like, can you, take 2 or 3 quests at a time and go knock them out all at once?
Kind of, sorta. You can, as long as they're offered at the same time. So, for instance, if you were to just, wait until later in the game, you could get a bunch of the truly optional ones knocked out by just gathering up a whole bunch of mats and then turning them all in. However, like I mentioned before, some of these quests actually essentially gate your progress in the main story. For instance, there are these pillars, magical pillars, that are blocking your progress in one of the dungeons. You can't destroy them without first rebuilding a rune shop that enables elemental attacks that also lets you knock down those magical pillars. So some of these quests, you have to do as they show up, otherwise you will not progress.
Those don't sound like side quests. Those sound like main mission quests.
Yeah, they all feel like side quests, though, because they're all the same dang thing.
Right.
It's
unfortunate.
Yeah, I think what really turned me off about the game is I happened to be playing it at the same time as Ys 8 on the Switch. I don't know if you've ever played the series.
Mm-mm.
Well, I mean, the short answer is that Ys 8 in particular is you getting stranded on an island and then helping out a bunch of people by either rescuing them or also doing quests for them and also building up an island village. And does this sound familiar yet?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So Ys 8 did a much better job of that particular gameplay mechanic and also with handling their side quests and how they were paced and how many characters you had to interact with and find, etc. and so on. So much better that, as I was playing through Rising, I was thinking, man, I wish I was playing Ys 8.
Wow, that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
The last question I had for you is in regards to you talking about this as being an appetizer or a amuse-bouche, as you alluded to, which makes me a little bit nervous, although maybe a little bit relieved in the length of this game. Because when I hear appetizer, I think small bite size. Is that the case here, or is this a full-fledged lengthy game?
Yeah, it's about 10 hours. I mean, it's going to be longer, obviously, if you actually try and complete all 160 side quests.
Right.
But if you're just barreling through the story and just doing whatever's strictly necessary, yeah, you can clear it in 10 hours or less.
Okay. That's still a pretty quality size game, but it sounds like if you're doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to wish that was a little shorter.
Let me put it this way. It's definitely a game that you're going to want to play in small doses rather than trying to get through the entire thing for the purposes of a review.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, do you recommend it for people?
Well, I mean, it's included with certain Kickstarter backer tiers, so if you're already a Kickstarter backer, I mean, you may as well download it and play it and try it out. And even if you don't particularly love the gameplay, this will serve as an introduction to some of the characters that you'll encounter in 100 Heroes, as well as give you an introduction to the world. And the developers have said that they will provide incentives for people who played Rising by like giving you bonuses by linking your save to 100 Heroes. So if you're already going to get like 100 Heroes, it is worth it just to play through Rising for that alone. But like I said, maybe in small doses. For everybody else, it's about $15. So, you know, it's not, let me put it, it's not terrible. It's not awful, but it is very repetitive and it is also pretty easy. So if you're someone who doesn't usually play action-oriented games and you want something that's fairly forgiving, this is a pretty good one to go for because the characters are engaging, the world is very, very pretty, and the music is pretty dang good.
Especially if you're looking forward to the turn-based one and you want to get a little bit of introduction to this world, it sounds like a good place to start.
Absolutely.
Okay, very cool. Well, your written review will probably be up on the site by the time people hear this, but you've also got a YouTube channel. Can you let everybody know where they can check that out?
Yeah, you can find me at youtube.com/relplays. That's RELLE plays. I am, as of this moment, working on editing down a Dark Souls 3 playthrough.
Very cool, man. Check out his stuff. He does some really quality work. I watched him do a live stream a little while ago, and he's a very entertaining streamer. So highly recommend checking out his YouTube page. Well, Rel,
Chaos Mode.
Thanks. Chaos Mode. Thanks so much for stopping by, man. It's always a pleasure, and we will check you next time, all right?
All right. Later.
Want to remind everybody about our social media outlets, facebook.com/groups/thegocast. Great place for a community over there. Also, our Discord community is live and thriving, and you can find that link in the show notes for this very episode. Also, drop us a review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play Music, wherever you listen to the show. It really helps us get the word out, and we would appreciate it. Also, our website, thegamingoutsider.com, is up and running, and you can find all our episodes there, as well as all of our written content. My review for Blast Brigade is up there, and we should have, Sean's review of Slipstream is up there, and Zach's review of, help me out, what is that game that he reviewed for us?
Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song.
Thank you.
And I also have a review of Trek to Yomi that should be available soon.
Will be available probably by the time this airs for sure. So, again, thegamingoutsider.com is the website. We would appreciate it if you visited it and checked it out. Let's go ahead now and jump to our From the Outside In topic. This week, I wanted to talk about video game characters. Yes, we've done that before, but this time around, I wanted to know which characters we relate to personally. We asked the community for responses, and you guys delivered some as well. But before we get into the actual nitty-gritty, I want to know, I know a lot of people relate to characters in films. Do you guys think it's easier or harder to relate to ones in video games? I'm really curious about this one. Alyssa?
I personally think it's harder for me because even though I'm playing as this character, it's hard for me to find even movie characters I relate to that I think that's like me. But especially, it's just harder in video games because they don't write characters like geeky nerd girls that have, autism. We get, I don't have that representation, but
Gotcha.
there's not that much in film either, but there is some. So it's a little bit harder in video games to find that for me.
Sure.
But for other people, it might be easier.
How about you, CB?
Overall, I kind of agree with Alyssa. It is a little harder to relate with video game characters, but I feel that it's actually easier to relate with some characteristics of video game characters.
Interesting.
Like parts of them, like, oh yeah, I can relate with this. Whereas, you do have those fleshed out like characters in movies, but with movies, I always seem that you relate more with a situation rather than like a characteristic.
That's an interesting point, because in video games, everything is, well, not everything, but a lot of situations are very fantastical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot more films and television shows that kind of, rely on reality.
Yeah, that grounded in realism.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess I could see it being a little bit easier to relate to those characters that way. That's interesting. I didn't think about that.
Can you relate with like Moxie from Borderlands? And you're like,
right,
man, that's really hard to think. Like, okay, but works, like, loves her job, working at a bar. Like, okay, I can relate with part of that.
Right.
So
it's interesting. I took a little bit different perspective on it. I'm kind of leaning on what Alyssa was saying, but to me, I find it easier to relate to characters in video games when it's characters that I'm not actually physically controlling. You know what I mean? Like where I'm playing as the character, the dream is to have a character where we feel like it's us. But in most games, you're playing as a character. You're controlling thoughts and actions of that character. Rarely do we get it where it's actually us. Games like Skyrim, or where you're doing this hardcore character creation, and you're making decisions that the character would make based on who you are personally. I guess you could do that with Shepard a little bit, right? I haven't played those games, but doesn't Shepard's personality change based on how you react to situations?
If you decide to be a Paragon or a Renegade, yeah.
So it's just pretty binary? Pretty
much, yeah.
Okay.
You just have those two options.
But at least you have options. When I play as, Starkiller, that's a character we talked about earlier. Nothing I do affects the kind of character that he is. So for me, it's hard to relate to a character like that, because nothing that I do, I don't have any onus to to the kind of person that he is or that he becomes. I'm there for the growth, but my immediate thought is that, well, it's going to be way easier to relate to video game characters because I'm controlling them. But the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I relate to the characters that my character interacts with, because I'm seeing it through the character's eyes that I'm controlling. You rarely see your own character except like in cutscenes, right? Or the back of the head if you're playing a third-person adventure. If you're playing a first-person adventure, you were looking through their eyes and never seeing them. So it's easier to connect with his or her buddies than it is.
So I was about to say, because like I'm sitting here thinking, like, when it comes to games like Fallout, you're gonna pick the buddy that kind of resembles either you or your friend.
Yeah, it's part of why I picked Valentine.
That's Valentine or dog meat.
Well, you are you saying you're a dog, or I'm a dog?
Well, you said
you picked one like your friends.
My best friend is dog.
Oh, thanks.
Well, when I played through Fallout 4, my dog Titan was still here. So
gotcha.
He was the goodest boy.
He didn't bark at me every time I walked into the room.
No.
Your dog can't decide if he likes me or if he's afraid of me.
He wags his tail.
Yeah, still barks at me.
So? He's a husky. That's what they do.
He's saying hi.
I'm shocked you didn't name him Dog Meat. Like, how did that...
That may have come up in a naming, but someone shot that down.
I know how that goes. All right, so which character or characters from games do you find yourself in the most? Which ones really reminded you of yourself more than any others? CB, I'm going to start with you. I've only got a couple, so.
Ooh, I got Tree.
All right.
3. First off, Henry from Firewatch.
Interesting. Okay.
I can see that.
Because every now and then you just want to be by yourself and just kind of take in the world.
I did not think of that. I'm a little mad that you thought of that one before I did. That's a good one.
Dude, like, why do you think I'm so in love with that game? Like, that game speaks to me on so many levels.
Well, and as a person that normally doesn't like to be by himself, I kind of found myself enraptured by that. You know, I've never experienced that in real life. I've never sat in a tower for days without seeing anybody.
But have you gone camping?
I did last weekend, actually.
Okay, but have you gone camping by yourself?
No, that sounds terrifying.
I have. I find it incredibly relaxing.
I would imagine you don't have to worry about doing something that makes anybody angry.
Yeah, I mean, you're just there with your own thoughts and just peace.
No cell phone reception. You can't interact with anyone or anything.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I literally love that game so much is you're walking through the woods with your own thoughts, and every now and then, like, you have someone that contacts you, and it's basically like that once a day check-in with the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yes, I can relate. And I love it.
That's a good choice, man.
It is.
I think you relate to that character more than I do. That's one of those where I wish I could relate more. Which I have a lot of those. I have a lot of characters that I wish I could relate to.
Oh, me too.
Number 2 on my list is Kratos. But Kratos from the newest God of War.
Okay.
Because I am a father.
That's true.
And I want to protect my kids. But I also want to enjoy the journey of life with them. And show them, like, amazing things.
I don't know. I feel like recently I've related to him for different reasons. Mostly anger related.
Smash everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I really love the character because he's like, he will literally go to pretty much the ends of the earth to protect his son. And I would too. So that game hit me at a time, and I was playing it. I'm like, wow, this game hits way harder than I thought it would. Because you look at God of War 1, 2, and 3, and I'm like, they're all right. God of War, like, that one, yeah, I'm there.
And that Ragnarok game that got delayed, right?
Yeah. Shut up. Trapezoids.
That's just going to be your go-to now whenever I call you out on something. You're just going to say trapezoids.
And then finally...
Trapezius?
Trapezius.
Is it trapezius? Is that
yes.
It? Okay, there we go. Trapezius. I knew it was...
Trapezoids.
Shut up. What's your third character?
Sam Porter Bridges.
You mean Cutie Booty Delivery Duty?
Cutie Booty Delivery Duty.
What's Cutie Booty?
Death Stranding.
I know that. I was just wondering where you came up with the name.
That's CB's pet name for it.
Okay.
That's my pet name for that game. Because like the first time you play that game, he's showering and you just see his butt. And I'm like, it's Cutie Booty Delivery Duty. That's right, kids. I'm bringing it back.
How do you relate to that character? I didn't play far enough to really get to know that character.
Again, unfortunately, I relate to that character because of my job. I'm delivering a human.
Okay.
Across great distances, and sometimes it's very annoying, and it makes me bitter.
You know, I was thinking about Death Stranding when I was camping, because I borrowed one of those giant backpacks, you know, the little tall ones that you put a bedroll on the top. And I was like, you know, I was actually hiking with that thing, and that thing is heavy. You know what I mean? And like the balance thing is a real thing. Like,
it's no joke.
I actually made the joke to my buddy that I went with. He's like, you know, you should go practice this, you know, at Rock Cut or something just to get used to it. I'm like, dude, I played Death Stranding. I think I'll be okay. Just to be funny. So
But no, like I can kind of relate to the character because at times, like you wonder why you're still doing this, and just keep marching forward.
Boy, I would have guessed you would have picked that guy.
Yeah, but I mean, but at the end of the day, like you're doing, I guess, your duty, and whether it's making you miserable or not, sometimes you just keep moving forward.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
So, trust me, man. You've heard stories about what I do at work.
Ooh, I've heard some horror stories about what you do,
but I keep showing up, man. I keep doing it.
Nice. Those are good picks. How about you, Alyssa? I'm really intrigued to hear yours.
I've got a couple. I think a lot of people see me more as a character like Aerith, specifically from Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
Because I keep, like, when people meet me for the first time, they're like, oh, you're so innocent. You're so quiet.
Well, and you look good in a red dress.
Oh, thank you.
I'm assuming.
I actually have worn a red dress before, and people comment on those pictures.
Nice.
So I don't remember which dress it was. That's the thing.
But besides
the point, that's true. I just feel like people get that air from me, and I will want to give flowers to everybody. Like, here's a flower for you. I love you. Because I just try to be nice to everybody.
You were exceptionally nice to everybody on Twitter. Like
I try to be.
I'll be scrolling through Twitter and I'll see a comment I'll see a tweet by somebody that I have no idea who they are. And I'll be like, why is this showing up on my timeline? And right underneath, Alyssa's like, you go, girl, or you look amazing, or you're an incredible person. Like everything that Alyssa says on Twitter is absolutely 100% positive.
I'm just trying to make it a little better of a place.
I like it. So
but yeah, I think people get that perception from me, and I do have some of her qualities, but I do really relate to the female protagonists in the Life is Strange franchises. Well, not franchises. Max, Chloe, Alex. And that mainly stems from it, not really from my teenage years, because my teenage years were filled with a lot of, had a lot of medical procedures and all this kind of stuff because no one picked up on the fact that I was autistic. So all the physical symptoms that come with mental illness, I was constantly being checked for illnesses, and I went through so many medical procedures I didn't get to be a teenager. So when I was in my 20s, I was really trying to discover myself, and I also grew up in a very sheltered place, and a place that pretty much has one mindset, and I just wasn't aligning with that, but I thought that I was broken, and, I thought that, I just wasn't meant to fit in. But then, like these characters do, they grow and they meet people that change their view sets and viewpoints and mindsets, that's what I meant to say. And they really discover who they are. And once you discover who you are, everything opens up a bit more and you feel more comfortable in yourself. And even though I don't have time rewind powers like Max, or I can't see people's auras like Alex does, and I'm not as cool as Chloe, I do relate to, discovering yourself, going through hard times, having other people kind of putting their viewpoints on you and trying to mold you in that aspect, but you just don't fit that way. I really relate to those characters in that regard.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Thank you for sharing.
And that's really all I could think about.
No, that's good. That's really good. I'm
good.
Just thinking about it now, man. I was going through different character lists and I saw Max, and it reminded me of some other people in my life besides you. I never thought about putting the two together, but it does kind of make sense. That's really cool. Did you with Max's rewind powers? You said you never had it. Did you, like me, ever as a kid fantasize that you had time manipulation powers?
I don't recall ever having that, but I mean, I did pretend I was Sailor Moon. And
Sure.
I was a Pokemon trainer, so...
When I was a kid, there was a television show called Out of This World. I don't know if you remember that show, CB, but the main character, she was the daughter of an alien and a human. Her mother was human and her father was an alien. And from her father, she got this ability to stop time. She would take her fingers and push them together like this, and she could stop time. So she could move around, but everything else would, freeze, and she could manipulate it and stuff. I was fascinated with that concept and fascinated with time travel anyway because of Back to the Future. And I used to just like dream about being able to do stuff like that. Like, and then once Life is Strange came up and you could rewind, even as an adult, I would fantasize about, man, wouldn't it be great to make a decision and then back up and make a different decision?
I mean, that would be a great power to have.
Oh man, that would be amazing.
You say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, just rewind time.
Yeah, I would totally do that. As for me, I had 2, and I've upgraded it to 3 because I thought of another one. I'm going to start with a Final Fantasy game as well, Final Fantasy VIII. I really felt like I connected to Squall Leonhardt more than any character from Final Fantasy. You know, Cloud was too cool. Barrett was too vulgar and brash.
I'm more of a Barrett than you.
You're more of a Barrett, yeah.
I do see you as Barrett, yeah.
But Squall was... I'm much more outgoing now than I was when I was younger. You know, when I was trying to figure out who I was, I tried to pull back a little bit and be reflective, and I feel like that's what Squall was. Like, Squall was very quiet. You know, but he also had a tender side, which is, you know, kind of the basis of Final Fantasy VIII. It's what drew me to the game was the love story. And, you know, he was awkward, and he didn't know how to talk to girls. And that I just really related to Squall as a younger kid, and that's one of my biggest regrets is not finishing that game. I got really far in that game. I got as far as like the Ragnarok ship, and I think the 3rd disc, and I don't know why I didn't finish it. I really
There's nothing saying you can't.
I know. Just add it to the list of games I wish I could have gone back.
I mean, it's currently in our Xbox library.
I know, but it is, man, those games just take a while, man. Those games take so much time, especially if you play them the way I do. Final Fantasy VIII, I don't know if you're familiar with the battle system in that game, but I would sit as a kid and draw and draw and draw and draw until I could max out everything. And that's all I did. Didn't even fight the enemies, because you could like draw without fighting the enemies and they never leveled up. So anywho, yeah, Squall Leonhardt was my first one. My second one is another Final Fantasy character from Final Fantasy VI. This one kind of is on the gray area in terms of kind of wish I was like the character, but I also related to him, and that was Sabin. Sabin was a very muscular character, which I obviously was not growing up. So that's the part that like I kind of wished I was. But the part I did relate to Sabin's character was just his upbeat, positive personality. He just was very looked at the bright side of everything, even though he was a tough guy. You know, he had a crew top, you know, hairstyle and with a ponytail in the back. He was super muscular. He could do all these blitz moves, but he was always just very happy. He wasn't an angry, tough guy. And I always like that felt like me. And it made me kind of want to be that angry, or not angry, but, you know, happy, tough guy. I always wanted to be a tough guy, but just, you know, couldn't pull it off because I was such a weenie when I was a kid. I was really a weenie, man. Still kind of am.
Hey, I've seen your gun show. You're no weenie.
I have been trying hard, and yes, I did take a picture of Top Gun.
I'm being sincere, by the way, too. I'm not joking with you.
No, I appreciate it. I've been working hard. I've been really trying, so I appreciate it. It's very nice that somebody notices. But my last one is a goofy one, and that's Guybrush Threepwood. I don't know if either of you guys have played Secret of Monkey Island.
I've not played it, but I've heard of the character.
Oh, you need to play that. You know what? We're gonna do a break the seal dare.
I could immediately see it just because of your stupid puns.
Yes, puns are one thing. Guybrush was just a character that was very happy-go-lucky, kind of just, you know, went through life by the seat of his pants with this positive chip on his shoulder, but he was just kind of a numbskull at the same time. My stepdad used to tell me when I was a kid that I was the dumbest smart kid he ever knew. Because I was very book smart, but when it came to street smart stuff, I was just completely clueless. And, you know, I just never outgrew it. So, Guybrush Threepwood, definitely, I feel like I relate to. And Alyssa, we're going to do a Break the Seal episode on Monkey Island.
I am up for it and looking forward to it.
I would love to go back and replay the original Monkey Island. And then you'll have to challenge me with something that I need to play
Oh,
So
think
Elden
about
Ring.
that.
no, something that I can actually do. See, because Monkey Island's not like a super difficult game, and if you get stuck, you can just look up a walkthrough, like we couldn't do in the 90s. So that was my list. I thought we didn't have any overlaps. That was interesting to me. Not a single overlap between the three of us.
That's always the fun thing about these kind of things, is because you have such wildly different personalities.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
And I just find it funny that I all three of my characters were dark, almost dark characters.
Yeah. Two of mine were, one was an idiot. One was kind of a loner, kind of a quiet character. And then the other one was a buff nice guy. There you go. Let's go through the comments. We just got 3 of them, so there's one for each of us to read. We'll start CB, Alyssa, and then I'll round us off with our last one. Go ahead, CB.
Nick Brown gives us Earthworm Jim, self-entitled adventurer who is a classic but basically an idiot.
I guess I should have chosen Earthworm Jim.
Nick, I appreciate this on so many levels.
Oh man, Earthworm Jim is such a bizarre game. What a weird game that I could not wait to play when I was a kid.
Yeah, I'm legitimately sad that we're not going to get we're basically not going to get 4.
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't even know there was a third one. I thought there was only 2 Earthworm Jim games.
Number 3 is on N64.
Wow, did not remember that. All right, Alyssa, you're up.
Do I read this first sentence?
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
Okay. Sean Coates says, I'll try to get through this. I'm horny like Leisure Suit Larry, and then there's a crying face laughing emoji.
We just recorded that for my ringtone, Alyssa. That's going to be like my ringtone on my cell phone now, is you saying that line. Just, you know.
Oh, lovely.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Go ahead.
But then he goes, okay, just kidding. I guess I can say I'm kind of like Luigi, as portrayed by John Leguizamo in the 93 Mario Brothers movie.
Wow.
I'm a wisecrack, and I'm good with technology because I sit on my butt all day playing video games. Also, just like Luigi in the movie, I'm the younger sibling with a large age difference of 16 years.
Interesting.
Now, okay, Sean, I have a half-sister who is 18 years older than me, so we're kind of in the same boat.
Wow. Did not know that about you.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Last comment comes from Tyler from Play to Win. His handle on Twitter is @PlayToWinGame. He says, I relate most with Sora from Kingdom Hearts. He's been an inspiration and role model for me throughout my entire life and has quite literally given me the strength to get through difficult times. If he was real, I'm positive we would be best friends. Thank you, Tyler. That was a pretty cool comment. I liked it.
Yeah.
Liked it. Very good. Well, thank you, everybody, for the comments. We do appreciate it. Next week is our 400th episode. 400 episodes. We would love to hear from you guys. It's going to be the first episode of the month anyway, and we want to just do a little bit of a celebration. I know it's a pretty big milestone for us. And we've never really done anything like at episode 100, 200, or 300. We didn't really do anything. So we want to hear from you guys. Tell us what the show has meant to you over the years, how you discovered us, why you're still listening. We would love to hear you. It's not a thing just to, pat ourselves on the back or anything. I don't mean it to be like that. It's not going to be a self-serving thing. We just want to know what you love about it so much and why you've stuck around for as long as you did. So, episode 400 celebration is going to be write in and tell us how you found us and what you love about the Go. So stay tuned for that. But that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. CB, any parting words or recommendations before we get out of here?
There's a movie out that you should all see.
I knew this was coming.
It is glorious.
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick. The movie that's, I don't know, almost 40 years in the making.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to go on record and say it's better than the original.
Holy cow. Better than the original. Although it couldn't exist without the original, but wow. Wow.
Yeah. Man, so I went and saw it with my wife and my older son. I cried. I legit cried.
Like from story points or from just like how beautifully it was done?
Both.
Wow.
I mean, and like being like, Scott has seen this movie with me the original with me multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
That
we
movie
saw it in 3D in your basement, didn't we? We're in 3D glasses.
I'm actually going to be going and seeing it again in 3D.
Where's it playing in 3D?
At the 4D theater out in Gurney.
Oh, I want to go.
Yeah. So IMAX 3D. So yeah, I will be going. Man, like the movie's always meant a lot to me just because Top Gun is like one of those movies I grew up with as a kid with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Originally when this movie was supposed to come out, my dad would still have been alive, but like now that it's actually out and I saw it, like he would have loved it. Just it's nostalgia trips done right, because there's enough nods and Easter eggs to the original, but they're not like just full on slapping you in the face like, haha, this Easter egg is for the fans.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an Easter egg that I know in the end that 99 out of 100 people who are even fans of the movie aren't going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, like it is a beautifully done movie, and I may not be a huge fan of Tom Cruise in real life, but man, this movie trips like every single like trigger for me. Like it is beautiful. Go see it, especially in a theater, like on the biggest screen you can possibly find, because it is worth it.
Yeah, I drove to Barrington to see it on the big screen. It's with a good sound, and it's really awesome. And those last 45 minutes, man, are intense, like the entire time through. Just so good, and the story just goes in a way that I feel like it couldn't have gone in any other way.
Yeah,
it just was really, really good. Now, Alyssa, you saw the original for the first time ever last night, right?
Yes.
I am dying to hear what you thought of the original Top Gun, because everybody that I talked to has seen it since it came out in 1986.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to know what someone your age, never seen it before, seeing it for the first time. What did you think?
It was a lot of fun. It definitely felt very 80s in its tone, but I had fun with it. It was very entertaining. The bromance between Maverick and Goose, loved it, and their horrible singing, but it just endeared me to them so much.
I hate when she does that.
And then, hearing Danger Zone and Take My Breath Away about 4 times a piece.
Yep.
I had them both stuck in my head after watching the movie, but, they're great songs, so I didn't mind hearing them over and over again.
I may have started in the middle of Top Gun when there was a love scene. In the middle of the theater, it's dead quiet, and I went, bow, 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 bow.
I know which scene you're talking. Are you talking about the original Top Gun?
No, I was talking about the new one.
Okay. One popped in my head from watching it last night.
That's a really awkward.
It was very awkward.
Like, there's way too much silhouetted tongues for me.
Yeah, I was like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah, is that
to this day? I still have the Hall & Oates version of "She's Lost That Love and Feeling" on like every playlist I make.
Oh, nice. Well, that's cool. Let's go ahead and Alyssa, do you have any recommendations?
I've really been enjoying Stranger Things season 4.
So have I.
But I've only watched 4 episodes because I have a horrible attention span when it comes to TV. And since these episodes are over an hour long a piece, I can only manage one a day.
I've watched them all. I'm completely caught up on Stranger Things.
It feels so good.
And I was a little nervous about getting back into it, but they really
I was too.
Did a good job with season 4.
But I really love how much more it's centered around the horror aspect.
Yeah.
This time.
Don't say too much, but there's some things we'll say off air. But
the new villain.
So good. Really cool.
It's just it's really good. If you haven't watched Stranger Things, great show. This does get darker in this season though.
Holy cow, does it get darker. Some really disturbing imagery too. Like holy cow. But yeah, really, really like Stranger Things. For me, my recommendation is a music recommendation. I discovered, I don't want to cheat on Grant Henry at all, who's the master of Metroid Metal, but he actually recommended this to me on Twitter. It is an album called Next Mission, which is a callback to the end of any Metroid game. It always says "See you next mission." By artist is Lacey Johnson, Lacey Johnson, Johnsson. Traditional spelling there. She does some fantastic work with the music for Metroid. If you like Metroid as a game, if you love the music like I do, check out her iterations of those songs. They're really, really great. It's got some crunchy guitar work to it, but it's not quite as metal as what Grant does. But she's really kind of made it her own and done some really awesome things. So check out Next Mission by Lacey Johnson. Thanks so much. What's that?
Guess what, Scott?
What's that?
It's June.
It's June. Coheed. We are officially in the month of Coheed
I know.
release. So excited. I feel like I've got like a third of the album already, so it's like...
I know.
It's kind of crazy, but... Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. StemageMusic.com. I just mentioned him. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Alyssa White and Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.